So let's do the chanting straight away. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Tadiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami. Tadiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami. Tadiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayatam gati gati parasam gati buddhisoham. Tayatam gati gati parasam gati buddhisoham. Tayatam gati gati parasam gati buddhisoham. So now time for some meditation, initially to release the tension in the body. So get yourself comfortable and bring your mind inside your body. From the bottom to the top, we will release the tension. So starting at your feet, obviously. Tips of your toes, the bottom of your feet, the balls, the arches, the heels. The top of your feet. Around your ankles and Achilles tendons. And your lower legs, calf muscles and shins. And from all around your knees. And release tension from your upper legs, quads, hamstrings. And from around your midsection, groin, hips, glutes. And up to your lower abdomen, a little bit above your hips and your sides and your lower back. And further up your stomach and your sides, and to the center of your back. And release from all around your chest, underneath your arms and your upper back. Rhomboid muscles, lateral muscles, up to the upper trap muscles. And also release from your shoulders and upper arms, biceps and triceps. And your elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, fingers, and thumbs. Back up to your neck and release from all around your neck. And from the back of your head and the sides of your head, around your ears and temples. Now release the tension from all around your face, around your cheekbones and cheeks. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw, from your chin and mouth, inside and outside. And release from your nose, eyes, sinuses, eye sockets and eyes. Make sure you're not frowning on your forehead. And finally, release whatever tension you may have from the crown of your head. Now you can scan your body once more. And then if there's any leftover tension, release it, if possible. Now bring your focus to the tip of your nose initially. And the object of the meditation is the feeling of the breath as we breathe in the nose all the way into our lungs and then back out our nose again. So focusing on the feeling of the breath. As you breathe in your nose, the air is quite cool as it passes your throat and then past your chest area all the way into your lungs. They expand, then they compress as you breathe out. And the air leaves the body quite warm as it passes the back of your throat on the way out your nose. Just a few extra details to help you keep focused on your breath. And you can also add the extra technique of counting the breaths from 1 to 10. Don't count past 10 to help you keep focused on the breath. And if you get distracted on the way towards 10, then go back to 1 at that time. So breathing in and breathing out. That's all you have to do physically, and focusing on the breath is all you have to do mentally. And if the mind wanders from the breath, then replace it onto the breath. So if any thoughts arise or mental activity arises, don't cling to it. Don't grasp at it. Also, don't try to force it away or deny it even. But simply and naturally let it go as you replace your mind onto your breath. And if your mind becomes dull or sleepy, then wake it up a little by refocusing on your breath more brightly. So let's practice like this in silence for a little bit. Now we can switch techniques to the loving kindness meditation. Feel really pleased with yourself. And fill yourself with universal loving kindness. Forgive yourself, accept yourself, respect and appreciate yourself. Be grateful towards yourself. Fill yourself with friendship and loving kindness. Utilizing the visualization technique of filling your whole being with the white light. Fill yourself with so much loving kindness that it now overflows and radiates outwards to your loved ones initially. So the white light, which fills your whole being, now radiates also outwards from your heart center and enters into their heart centers and fills them with the universal loving kindness as well. I wish that they are happy, free from suffering, and are peaceful. Now also include strangers and think likewise. And also those you may regard as enemies, and do likewise. And now you can extend this loving kindness out further and further distance-wise to all sentient beings now, starting initially around your immediate area. All the sentient beings that live in the waters, on the land, fly through the air, whether born from wombs, eggs, moisture, or through transformation. All living beings, whether weak or strong, great or small, short or tall, seen or unseen, near or distant, born or to be born, may they all be happy and feel safe. May they be free from suffering. May they be peaceful. And they radiate throughout your whole state or county. And all of the states and counties throughout your country. And all of the countries throughout the world. Those you're familiar with, maybe have an affinity towards, those you're indifferent towards, and those that for whatever reason you may have some negative feelings about. Radiate this universal loving kindness throughout all of these countries, and also throughout all of the oceans and other bodies of water, down to the core of the earth and to the outermost atmosphere. And beyond this planet alone, radiate the loving kindness throughout the whole solar system. And the whole galaxy, and the universe and beyond, until your loving kindness pervades throughout infinite space. Also being present here and now, we will recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious body, Chitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of Shunyata, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Okie dokie. So now we will continue the introduction to Zen Speaks, Shouts of Nothingness, which is commentary on numerous Zen teachings from this book, Zen Speaks. I started the introductions last week and got through the translator's preface. So now we have 7 pages of introduction to go through. I'm sorry, I should say ahead of time, I actually did say that I would have a look at these before we started teaching from it, but I didn't. I forgot. Okay, so I haven't had a look to see whether I give commentary on some and maybe some not. I wanted to do that initially so that if there were some things in here that I didn't need to read to you, I wouldn't do it. But here we go, okay? So I will read to you. Don't know if you can see that picture of the Dalai Lama. I said last week jokingly I'd use the 20, maybe 28-year-old newspaper clipping of Leonard Cohen as a Buddhist monk. But no, I think I put that over there because being so old, it's nice to keep actually. If I use it as a bookmark, it may run out. This is covered by plastic. And this was actually, just for your information, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Stages of Meditation Commentary, 15th to 19th of June 2008 in Melbourne, Rod Laver Arena in the city. Mum came to that, and some students did as well. So, yeah, that's what he looked like all those years ago. Still looks similar, but a lot older, as we all do. So hopefully I don't have trouble reading this to you today, because the weather's really cold, and also maybe the last few weeks I've had some trouble with sinuses and some allergies sort of stuff going on with the cold winds. And it culminated in my left ear being blocked for the last few days. I'd say it's because of, I'm hoping it's because of wax buildup. Years ago, this is maybe too much information for you, but when I was doing some music work still, I'd have a shower obviously every day, and after I get out of the shower, I use cotton bud, which apparently you're not supposed to do. Anyway, so in recent times, I haven't been using them that much, and just cleaning the ear with some tissue or whatever. And anyway, so I realized there was a lot of buildup of the wax, especially in the left ear. So I used cotton bud, and I think I pushed some up into the canal. I think that's what you call it. And so I'm going to try some home remedies. I've already tried the water with the squirting up there, didn't work. Tried the steaming, didn't work. Heat compress, didn't work. And the next thing is some oil, and then put some olive oil in there, and hopefully that can break it up. If not, then maybe the chemist is the next stage and see if they have some solutions that can help to break it up. Otherwise, I'll have to go to the doctor and get them to flush it out, and I do hope it's not a bigger problem, obviously. I did have surgery on this ear in 2002. I had ectotosis, which is a calcium buildup inside the canal, which is a result mainly of cold water in the ear. I used to do a lot of surfing and a lot of swimming, so maybe that's part of the cause of that. And it gets drilled out. So they take your ear forward, like almost off, and then drill it out. It took it quite a long time to get over that. It was about 6 weeks or more before I really got the balance and everything. So just thought I'd share this information with you in case I stumble over these things. If I do struggle, then we do more meditation, okay? Because right now, obviously everything's really kind of blocked over here. My voice is very loud inside my head. I don't know if it's loud for you guys, but yeah, it's quite uncomfortable. but not painful, which is a good sign. Okay, so the introduction says, and how long do we have? Okay. I'll get through as much as I can, but I won't skip over certain things if I need to give commentary on them. According to the 19th century Chan or Zen master, and my pronunciation of the names is not going to be perfect, okay? I say that ahead of time. Liang Ji of Donshan, 807 to 869, the people of his time were encumbered by too much idle knowledge. This contributed to three forms of defilement. The first is defiled views. This is not departing from a particular fixed view about the nature of awakening, and thus falling into a sea of poison. The second is defiled emotions. This is entrapment in preferences and repulsions, thus having one's perspective become one-sided and rigid. The third is defiled language. This is mastering trivia and losing sight of the essential. The potential for awakening is thoroughly obscured. Ignorance, of which idle knowledge is one aspect, is held by Buddhists to be the root cause of suffering. So this, you say, is the ignorance attaching to a self, one-sided view, self of other. I like this, I don't like that. So the ignorance giving rise to attachment and aversion. And I'll keep that very simple like that, okay? Even though I did notice here that there was some sort of notes, so bear with me for a moment. No, I think that's just a translation note. I mean, pronunciation note, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay, so most 19th century Chinese Buddhists saw their time as one of great suffering, a Dharma ending age. Though there have been people in every period of history who expressed a similar pessimism about the state of society and who saw fixed opinions and emotional attachments as contributing factors. Liang Shi's identification of defiled language as one of the principal agents in his society's malaise is somewhat unique and resonates ominously with affairs in our own time. Language, the system by which a society produces and transmits its knowledge, is the preoccupation in the modern world of our news and entertainment industries, as well as our institutions and learning and research. The power of these industries and institutions to use or manipulate language and hence knowledge has been revolutionized by the invention of a new language, the language of the computer. An exponential explosion of, there's some words, I'd never use these words, some of them. An exponential explosion of information knowledge has resulted, the effects of which are being felt far more pervasively than for any previous system of knowledge. Accompanying this knowledge explosion, and perhaps partly on account of it, has come increased specialization, the mastery of one small body of knowledge or technology. Even up to a few decades ago, it was optimistically asserted that this growing mass of knowledge would lead to a gradual but inevitable improvement in the quality of life and would greatly reduce, if not eliminate, the bulk of human suffering. Now, many are not so sure. I'll make a comment there. I think it's the opposite. Far too much information, less wisdom. Far too much self-centeredness, less compassion. I'm not making up that statement, just putting it in my own words. It's probably been something like that's been spoken about by many, many different people over a period of time. You know, the more stuff we fill our minds with, the less we get the chance to empty the mind, to realize true wisdom. The more self-centered we are, the less chance to develop compassion for all living beings. Much, if not most, of the knowledge proffered on television and in the classroom is, in fact, quite trivial, in the sense that it generally has minimal bearing on an individual's everyday affairs or the deep-seated problems that confront modern society. All of this has led to questions about the nature and function of our knowledge-producing institutions and their product. To what end and for whose benefit is knowledge sought? To put the question in terms a Buddhist might use, how does a society's knowledge alleviate suffering, either of the individual or all of life? It is to just such questions as these concerning the nature of knowledge and who controls it that a small but vigorous group of medieval East Asian Buddhists were responding in a most unique fashion. They too lived in a society in which the amount of knowledge had exploded due to the major influx of Buddhist texts and teachers from India and Central Asia. It was widely held that the knowledge contained in those texts and in the minds of their teachers was of vital importance to the welfare of the individual, the family, and the society as a whole. This knowledge came packaged in South and Central Asian languages, utterly incomprehensible to most Chinese. Hence, the ability to use and manipulate these languages was a skill that conferred elite status and authority on the few so talented. In addition, the texts were so varied and diverse that people came to specialize in one kind of Buddhist knowledge or another. This powerful and influential medieval knowledge industry came increasingly under critical scrutiny from a group known as Chan Buddhists or Zen Buddhists. It is this group of Buddhists that Sai Chi Chung has brought to cartoon life in Zen Speaks. I think we're doing fine. Wow. Got heaps of time. Chan or Zen Buddhism is the subtitle here. The word Chan is an abbreviation of Channa. I mentioned that to you last week. A Chinese translation of the Indian Sanskrit word dhyana, or meditation, or I'll add mental absorption. In Japanese, the Chinese character for Chan is read Zen, the term by which this form of Buddhism is most commonly known in Europe and America today. One of the characteristics of Chinese civilization was its tendency to bureaucratize. There's another word I haven't used ever. Bureaucratize almost every aspect of social and religious life. Chinese Buddhist monasteries were no exception. Monks were organized into groups with clearly defined duties and privileges. Certain groups of monks were designated preachers, others reciters, others disciplinarians, and still others meditators. Chan monks appear to have had some connection with the group whose most primary occupation within the monastic institution was to meditate. Most of what we know about Chan monks is contained in a distinctive genre of Buddhist literature, known variously as lamp records or discourse records. These texts were first compiled and published in China around the 10th century, and their production has continued up to the modern period throughout China, Korea, and Japan. Chan came to public attention in China as a distinct form of Buddhism sometime around the end of the 7th century. There appeared a group of monks at that time acting and talking in ways that challenged the kinds of knowledge and technologies that Chinese Buddhists and the society at large had held in highest esteem for generations. Their religious practices and modes of discourse bore little resemblance to those of either their predecessors or fellow Buddhists. Not only did they not do what was expected, they often engaged in actions that would have been regarded by Buddhists and non-Buddhists alike as quite shocking. Almost nowhere in this literature do we read that they studied, recited, or expounded the Buddhist scriptures, known as sutras. Yet those very scriptures were regarded by almost all Buddhists as nothing less than the words and fundamental insights of the Buddha himself. Study of these texts was fundamental to monastic training. Worse, these audacious monks often seemed to treat the scriptures with downright disrespect. In addition, they are almost never represented as engaging in meditation, in spite of the central role that practice has played in most Buddhist traditions. And contrary to most Chinese practice, pedagogic, this guy's obviously a scholar with the English language, I imagine. Chinese whatever practice, I'll just say whatever. Those regarded as masters or teachers generally responded to queries from apparently earnest seekers in what seems a most illogical, dismissive, or even abusive manner. To appreciate who they were and what the significance of their behavior and thought was, it is useful to understand something of a medieval world of which they were a part, the political, social, and religious institutions that called forth their unconventional behavior. There is a famous teaching, but also a picture, a statue, things like this of a monk that the great master, don't know a name, can't remember all of the finer details, but he was traveling throughout the mountains, and it was very cold weather, and he came upon this one small temple, and he asked to stay the night. They said yes, he could, and they, I think, asked for teachings from him, which he was going to give them in the morning or whatever. Apparently, he stayed in the meditation hall, the practice hall. There was wooden Buddhist statue. It was so cold, he needed to stay alive, in the cold weather and the snow, that he used the wooden Buddhist statue as fire, as fuel for the fire, and burnt the statue. And so they were all very, very shocked. I think he then gave a teaching on the Buddha's not in the statue type of teaching, and that scriptures are the finger pointing to the moon. They are not the truth within themselves. They are helpful as the finger pointing to the moon. Or if you could say, again, another example, the Buddha used a lot, the raft going from this shore of samsara to the shore of nirvana. Once you realize nirvana, no need for the raft, no need for the scriptures, no need for the reminders such as Buddhist statues or whatever. I would say to that middle path, don't attach to the statue, but what the statue stands for, don't attach to that either, but utilize the inspiration that you may get from a Buddha image to study the scriptures, get to understand the words, understand the meaning of the words, and put them into practice. Okay? So it's not about being disrespectful for scriptures, not about being disrespectful to the Buddha or masters throughout the ages or images of the Buddha. Nothing to do with that if you're at that stage. Maybe right now we need to pay more attention to being respectful for such reminders, isn't it? But once again, I'll say another thing. Years ago, a Buddhist scholar in the Theravada tradition said to me, the Buddha's words are the absolute truth, ultimate truth. I said, how can words be ultimate truth? He could. I'm not trying to be smart, but I wasn't trying to be smart. But I wanted to share with him how you shouldn't say things like that, because the words of the Buddha, whether in written form or even coming out of the Buddha's mouth at that time, they can't be ultimate truth. They are teachings that we must put into practice to realize ultimate truth. Okay? So it's not about being disrespectful, these Chan monks, but it was very institutionalized at the time. This, there's that, this one, there's this one, that one can't do this one. And so because of that set up, these Chan monks and scholars, maybe women practitioners, they, not so much scholars, but experienced practitioners, they practiced like this so that they didn't get caught up in all the politics. I think we're just about to finish. Yeah, less than a minute. So I rejoice in your goodness, and we'll pick it up next week. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. I don't even know where we're up to.